Today I'm going to show you how to mock up a completed design in Cricut Design Space to better help you visualize your completed project. I do this all the time. You've probably seen my most recent posts on all of social media, the mailbox design I did, the oversized envelopes, and a bunch of mirrors. I'm always doing mirrors, and this is a huge help for mirrors. So let's start simple with the Valentine's Day canvases. We're going to go up here to New Project. I just click Blank Canvas. Okay, so what we're going to do first, this is really easy because it is just a rectangle. You're going to go to Shapes right here, and you're going to click Square, this square with the straight edge here. I do that instead of rectangle because these are curved edges, and I want the straight edge, but it's up to you. So my canvas is white, so I'm going to pick white. Again, this is all about visualizing, so we want to make sure it's accurate. And I know I'm doing an 11 by 14 canvas. One of the ones that I did was 11 by 14. Measure your canvas or just read the label on the front, but I'm doing 11 by 14. So first off, we want to make sure that this lock symbol is unlocked. If it is not, whatever I type in here will go here. If it is, let's say, uneven, and then I lock this, it will still always change to be proportionate. So if I do 20, it's going to go to 34. Does that make sense? It's always going to be proportionate. So I don't want that. So unlock, and I'm going to do, what did I say? 11 by 14. I guess 14 by 11, because I want it to be that way. Okay. What the heck? What is going on? 14, 11, there we go. No one move. Okay, now I'm going to lock the proportions because I just want it to stay. So again, this is just to help us visualize. Okay, so from here, you can go on to design however you want. I know there are people all over the internet who have commented on my things saying, just measure. And like, yeah, great. I could go to my canvas and measure, okay, I think I want the love to be roughly 5 inches or whatever, but it just helps bring the whole thing together if you could actually see it. Okay, so let's say I'll do purple, and I'm like, you know what, I know I want to add a little bit more detail, so I can drag over here to make it smaller, or I could change it up here. Again, same thing with the lock proportions, that's up to you. I just like to duplicate to do additional text box instead of starting a whole new text box. It just makes it easier in my opinion. I don't know, let's make this. Sure, that looks fun. I know this is just for show, but I still like to make it look good. So just to help us visualize, just to help us go through and whatnot. So yeah, I would like this to be a little bit smaller. Maybe put it in that blank space. Yeah. Then I just like to move it all around, and you get the idea. It just helps you visualize a little bit better. Now that one was super easy, so I just wanted to go over the basics with an easy one because it was a straight rectangle. Now, if you were going to cut this, I would turn this off. If you leave it on, when you go to click Make, it's going to try to cut out a gigantic white square for you. We don't want to do that. Now, if you did forget to turn it off, you do not need to click cancel. All you have to do is ignore this. Just go to the purple, click the purple, the machine will cut the purple, and then when it tells you to cut the white, just cancel out of here. But if you want to avoid that extra work, just turn this off now, click Make, and there you go. Only the purple is there. So that is one option. Next, let's get a little bit more difficult. This is my mailbox, the love letter mailbox that I just created. Super fun, made with an old mailbox we had in storage. In the video, if you go look on my TikTok or my Instagram, you will see that I was measuring all the sides. Obviously, I cannot recreate a mailbox on Cricut Design Space, at least not the way to make it functional to see what each side will look like. So I just did a basic rectangle for the sides, and then for the shape of the little lid, I just went down here and clicked this one, and I made sure that all of the measurements were the same as the mailbox. So again, if you look back in my video, I included at least a footage of all the measurements. So that's what I did here. I'll show you for 2 seconds. I figure most mailboxes are closer in size. So the sides, I did like 18 3/4 by 6.5 inches. And then the lid or cover, I never discussed mailbox anatomy. I don't know what to call it, but the little latch will be 6.5 by 8.75. And then when I go to cut it on my machine, I just click the first shape, then I hold down Command, and hold the other white shapes right here, just so I see where they all are, and I just turn them all off. That is simple. Now, let's get a little bit more difficult. Mirrors, okay? I did all these mirrors for, well, a bunch of different weddings and stuff. Recently, I had a bunch of mirrors to do. They're just the best way to decorate. I highly recommend them. But it can get very confusing because you don't have the exact shape, and, you know, like you could see this mirror. I could make that curved image, as I showed you with the shape for the mailbox, but the dimensions won't be exactly right. The arch won't be exactly right. So let me show you how to do that. So the exact mirror that we were using here are 2 from Five Below. So you have this one, and we had this bow mirror. So this one's not a head-on photo, so I'm gonna Google it. It's a perfect. I mean, that's the expensive one that Five Below has duped, but I like it. So we're gonna save the image as. You're gonna right click and click Save Image As. I want it right there on top. If there is not an option to save image as, which I'm pretty sure is the case, yes, when you go from Five Below, you could just screenshot it. It'll work the exact same. So we're gonna go into Cricut Design Space. We're gonna upload the image. I'm going to drag and drop this. Oh, I hate when it does that. Hold on. Save image as. Just do .png if that happens to you. If it says it's the wrong file, just put, yeah, use PNG, and that should work. Next. Back to here. Now, where did it go? Where'd it go? Save image as 000.png. Use PNG. Okay, let's try again. There we go. All right, so we're just going to click the background so all the background goes away. Apply and continue. You're going to click flat graphic because we want the image. Upload. All right, so now we have this in Design Space, and obviously it's very small. So what we want to do here is go back to that Five Below website listing and do, it's 4 feet by 2 feet. So that is the actual dimension, okay? So 2 feet in width is 24 inches. And then 4 feet is 48 inches. So obviously this is gigantic. We are on 16% zoom because this is 4 feet by 2 feet, and obviously my computer is not that large. So you're going to get this little red note right here. This says image is too large. Obviously we know that, low resolution, that's for print then cut, what we could talk about in another video. So like I said in the last segment where I said you have to turn this off before you make it. If you don't, you could just ignore it. You won't be able to ignore it. If you try to make it with this, Cricut is going to say the image is too large. We cannot go on to the next screen. So you're going to want to click that off immediately. Okay. So now I have the image on here, and now this is just going to, oh, that keeps happening to me. I don't know what Cricut is doing. There we go. So now you have this huge image on here, and it's just going to help you visualize better. If you want to be sure when you're looking at the mirror in real life, just measure across to make sure that the dimensions are proper. But this is just going to help me see everything better. So let's say Billy and Molly are getting married. Now I can see exactly how large I want it to be, what colors I think are going to look better, what fonts, all that jazz. Now, this is a very large mirror, so if I do want to fill out the entire space here, as you can see, it's 14 inches across, you're going to need a 12 by 24 mat. If you don't have a 12 by 24 mat, you could just cut this up into 2 separate text boxes. I talk about that on my TikTok. I could do another video on that a little bit better. Billy, Molly, and now these are all smaller. Okay, so they'll cut separately, and you'll just have to line them up manually when you go to apply it onto your mirror, but that's an option in case you don't have the 12 by 24 mat. I do recommend, if you're doing wedding stuff, invest in the 12 by 24 mat. It'll be so much easier. But then I would just do the whole mirror like I did in the other videos. So then when I go to cut, I just turn this off, go to make it, and now Bill and Molly are the only things being cut. turn it on to help visualize, and you could see here, like, I've done a lot of mock-ups on these. Okay, I leave everything there, but when I go to cut, I just turn the mirrors off. All right, so now let's talk about one last thing. We can replace this. If you have this specific mirror, the dimensions on the mirror, on the description, it's on the box, and it's on the website. They only tell you the dimensions of the actual mirror, not the entire frame itself. So what you're going to do, if you have this issue, see, I already have this photo saved. You can measure manually if you have a ruler or a tape measure, but if you don't have a ruler or a tape measure for whatever reason, or let's say you're just creating a decal for someone and you're shipping it and you don't have the mirror directly in front of you, here's what you're going to do. So this is the image taken straight from Five Below's website. We know it's 14 by 15 inches. So I'm going to take a shape. Thank goodness this is one basic shape. We're going to take this. We're going to turn off the proportions. 14 by 15. I'm going to put it below just to visualize it. And then we're just going to drag this. We're going to try to get this inner circle to fit perfectly in the mirror. That way we know. Oh, no, is that right? Yeah, that way we know exactly the size. But the size is exactly right. It is hard to tell because this frame is white, but it can be done. So we don't know that these proportions are perfect, like the picture proportions. So you can turn off the proportions for this and just drag it to fit the circle because we know that the actual mirror itself is 14 by 15. All right. So mathematically speaking, it has to fit. If the circle is 14 by 15, this is foolproof. So the black circle is 14 by 15. We fit it in perfectly, which means this is 14 by 15, which means these dimensions are accurate. So then you could just go on from there and start adding your text. Mimosas. There we go. We know the sizing. We're going to be able to visualize it perfectly exactly how we want, and we just turn it off. This one is too big for the Cricut anyway, so we're going to turn it off. As you can see, I do this all the time. I did this with a clock. This was a clock. That was huge. Bunch of mirrors. Another fun thing you can do with Cricut, and I've only done this like once or twice. If you go down here to layouts, it'll give you the options for a lot of pretty basic things. It won't specifically show you the layout for a Five Below mirror, but let's say we wanted to do a t-shirt, adult, medium, it's going to give you a template. It's going to show you general sizing, how big you should possibly want your design, and the coolest thing is it won't try to cut it. So let's just say I wanted to do a heart t-shirt. Perfect. You could see here in the layers panel, you could turn this on or off. Shows you the layout guide. You could say, I don't really want this layout, or I only want the back of a shirt. You could play with it. That's totally up to you, but it will not cut. So even if you leave it on, you go to click make, it will not cut out the t-shirt outline. So that is a really cool tool that Cricut has in its design space, this layout. I've played with it. I've done a lot of use for it. A mug, that's really helpful. I should use that more often, actually. So that is something else you could do. But that is how you make mockups on Cricut Design Space. I do this all the time. I do it for pretty much any project that I have. It really just helps me visualize. I feel like no matter how much I measure, it's still going to wind up being wrong in the end. So I just like to do it this way. I like to visualize. This is a fun tutorial I'm going to show you how to do next on one of my next videos. These are going to be name tags that go on the stem of wine glasses. So this is my measurement. This is my mock-up that I've showed you guys in this video. So I'll explain all that in another video. But I really just recommend doing this all the time. Any project, if you're new, like this was a clock. Whereas these were tumblers. This is a good one. These were all tumblers. I took a picture of the tumbler right off the website that I got them from, just to make sure all the names fit perfectly. I really recommend this, especially if you're new and you're starting out. Measurements can be finicky. To just do this, visualize, and it's just less of a chance of it going wrong. So that is how you create mockups in Cricut Design Space to ensure a perfect completed project. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. Please share and comment on these videos, and let me know down in the comments what other tutorials you'd like to see. I went pretty advanced, but I could do some more basic tutorials in the near future if you guys would be interested in that. So thanks for watching.